Hey, everybody, welcome to Beyond the Bell. I'm Andrew Zarian. Sorry for the delay. Somebody is sabotaging me over at Fightful. So I had to bring in an expert here. The one, the only, Joel Pearl. What's going on, Joel?
When Andrew Zarian gives you a phone call and you're sitting in a Walmart McDonald's at 9 in the morning, you get up and you go to work. So I'm here.
I don't know what's going on, dude. Everything is broken. The stream is broken. Everything's broken. The video's not playing. I think what happened, somebody by mistake copied my stream key, and they're doing a test over at Fightful, and it kicked me right off.
I'm going to have a talk on the back end with these people.
Who do I talk to? Who's the guy? Who do I call?
I don't even know if Sean is the one you would talk to in this case. Sean would be like, I didn't touch it. Then that would be that.
I don't even know, who to call.
I feel like this was on your end, but I also am not
so.
the person who put this together. So you know my feelings about how you do your show. You
I
should
blame
be on
Denise.
studio like everyone else.
That turncoat, she left. She's out of here.
She left. She's not coming back. She hates us, allegedly.
That's
going
the
to
deal.
go do her
That's
own
what I
thing.
heard. That's what I heard.
It's over. It's over.
A lot of professional wrestling to talk about. I love having Joel on when Rich can't make it. Rich has been very busy with his shoot gig. So have I, by the way. It's been Joel has a lot of insight, and it's been a very hectic couple of weeks with all my clients. I'll tell you though. Well, I'll talk about it another time. There's a lot going on. There's a ton going on. Let's talk about some professional wrestling. It's always interesting to me around this time of year because Survivor Series for the longest time became a nothing show, right? It was just, they would try some unique ideas every now and then, like the Deadly Games concept that they did. That kind of revitalized Survivor Series for many people. Then they tried another tournament, many years later. And then it was the whole SmackDown versus Raw, the brand supremacy concept of it. And now War Games is the headline here, right? The whole concept of the pay-per-view has changed. It's no longer about the 5-on-5s. It's more about this one match. Good pivot though, right?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm a fan of War Games when it matters. I'm not a fan of shooing War Games together because it's that time of year. And I had the same problem with Hell in a Cell when it was, it's October, it's time for Hell in a Cell. What feuds can we just toss in the cell and that's it? I want these feuds to have a reason to go into War Games, go into a Hell in a Cell, go into a no disqualification, whatever it is. So I'm concerned about the women's War Games match if they're going that route. Because it feels shoehorned.
Well, they are going that route because it was a spoiler. I don't know if you saw. There was a double taping. So why were they off? Why are they off next Monday?
Next Monday, I don't know. Well, we're getting into Thanksgiving weekend.
No, Thanksgiving's the following.
No, I know. I'm saying we're getting into it. So they taped last night for 2 weeks, and then SmackDown, not next week, but the week after that, the 22nd, they're taping for 2 weeks as well. And that includes the go home for SmackDown, and the go home for Survivor Series, and that is for Thanksgiving specifically. It could be because of Veterans Day weekend. They just wanted to give them a make good, and that's what the schedule came up as. I don't know. Maybe. But listen, time off is time off. And ratings wise, if you want to get into that discourse, nothing like their ratings haven't really changed much when you give a tape show. And they don't really have much, they don't have to worry so much for the next few months because they got a deal from USA. They just need to get through the next quarter and get to Netflix. And that's when things matter again.
So what do you make of the 2-hour shows? Since going to 2 hours, this is something we were all screaming about. Everybody wanted 2 hours. Has it made a big impactful difference on the feel of the show?
I think the first week everyone was really jarred by what was going on. They didn't really like the flow, and then it got better, and it's been fine. I wouldn't say that it's blockbuster, but like they give you something that matters every week. They give you at least, again, this was the Kevin Dunn way of thought, was give them 2.5 things to think about on each show, and if that's the way that it works, then it's been fine. Some shows are more consequential than others. But for 2 hours, that's been fine. Listen, I go to sleep. We talked about this last time I was on the show. I go to bed by 10 o'clock, show's over, and I'm like, bye. Yeah. Even when Raw was 3 hours, I'd be like, no, watch the last hour or last half hour tomorrow.
I have great difficulty watching the show live. I watch SmackDown live. I watch Dynamite live. Collision, I watch live by default because I don't leave the house on Saturday nights. So it's always on. But for Monday, for whatever reason, I'll put it on at 8. I get to about 8:45, and then, life happens. My wife's like, do you want a glass of wine? I say, sure. We go on TikTok. I get an email, so I have to play a lot of catch up in the mornings on Tuesday morning. For me, it's a little bit different, but again, everybody's different. We're getting old, dude. Me especially.
Yeah, believe me, I'm aware of my age these days.
Robert Kennedy showing up at my house and injecting me with peptides daily now. That's the only way I can survive.
You're going to have to get a speech therapist at that point.
Let's talk about this. Gunther kicked the show off. He was interrupted by Damian Priest. So this is the match. We knew that they were headed this way. Priest said Gunther is now doubting himself after losing the title to Cody, the crown jewel title. Before they start fighting, Ludwig interrupts, gets in the face of Damian. Priest would end up punching Kaiser, setting up the match later. Damian Priest is involved in multiple things. One is that whole Judgment Day thing that's going on. The next is this. You put the title on Damian?
I mean, it's tempting, but if you make Gunther lose the title after losing the crown jewel thing, it feels a little weak towards Gunther. I know that he's the type of person that can eat a loss like that, but he's the world champion. Like keep going with him. Damian Priest is continuing to become more and more popular. And I think this is the first time that we've seen Damian Priest in the ring look so casual and so cool on main roster and get cheered for it the way he's supposed to be.
I'm a little concerned with him, though. I feel like they have all these great ideas about him because he's so good. They don't know how to position him, though. Because even as world champion, he wasn't the focus. Obviously, because Cody's the champion. But I wasn't crazy about how he was presented. Not so much what he did.
So you have to remember this. Your first world championship is meaningless in a lot of ways. It's a setup. It is, can you take the ball and roll with it? Yes. Can you do it for years at a time? Let's find out. I'm not saying they need to be champion for years at a time, but the idea here is that if we give you the opportunity, can you do it? Yes. Is it going to be perfect? No. But when you come back and win it again in a few years or in however many months down the line, can you be our guy? And Damian Priest was given that opportunity and he did a great job. And now they're going to keep building him as that guy. And regardless of how you feel about him, he's still a former world champion, which holds some sort of prestige in a WWE fan's mind or any wrestling fan's mind as a former world champion. So you don't need to do it now, but certainly down the line, he will be another world champion. And the second time around will be better because he will have had that experience the first time.
Yeah, I'm going to skip around a little bit because I don't want to spend half the show on Raw. There's so many other people that do a recap show that's a billion times better than me here. So you can go to them. But I found this interesting that, that he is back in the mix. They are doing it as expected. I'm hoping they continue this. I hope he stays on a higher level. Does Gunther win? I don't know. Does Priest win? I don't know. But I would imagine that they want the title on Gunther for the foreseeable future. Interesting stuff. Yeah. There was a Bloodline video package. So this continued on during the show. This led to Jey Uso talking to Sami Zayn. They're looking for a fifth guy. I don't like this. I feared they would not keep it a 4-on-4 for forever since talking about this. We saw Cody was in the mix. I did not want him involved in this, and it seems like they are going with a fifth member. They're going outside. Some of this was spoiled on the taped show. If you guys don't want to hear about it, mute. Put something in your ears.
Not your headphones though, because then you'll hear the.
Not problem. Your headphones, then you'll hear me. It looks like it's going to be Bronson Reed on New Bloodline side and Seth Rollins.
I mean, storyline wise, it works for the Bronson Reed
it's
stuff.
Not needed. Why just keep it a 4-on-4?
I agree. Listen, Jeremy and I bat that drum for weeks over on In the Weeds on Fightful Overbooks. We said 4-on-4 is fine. NXT War Games was 4-on-4. The women have done 4-on-4 War Games. If it if it means 4-on-4, do 4-on-4. It doesn't make sense to suddenly shoehorn in another feud. And I said, on Monday's show, I'm like, listen, if they're going to do it, I guess you could add these people. It doesn't work for me because there's no reason to have that. It's one storyline that should stay as it is. Instead, we're going to get,
here's the thing, right? Like, is it going to ruin the match? No, it's not. Is it going to ruin it for me? No, it's not going to ruin it, but it's a civil war amongst family. You're involving people that are not, I guess Seth Rollins could be considered,
I would have added Kevin Owens.
You would have been Kevin Owens instead of who? Instead
of Bronson Reed. And I said this again on In the Weeds. There's a reason to do it. KO should be angry at Sammy for going back to the guy that gaslit Kevin Owens, that gaslit Sami Zayn for years going into WrestleMania 39, and mistreated Kevin Owens the whole way. Why are you suddenly okay with that guy? You know what? To get back at you, I don't like Roman Reigns. I will join Solo Sikoa for this. And that would fit. It wouldn't be perfect, but it would be, in my opinion, more connective than Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins.
All right. Listen, maybe CM Punk shows up and costs the match. And that's how you get to Seth. Maybe he joins the new bloodline. Maybe you could do that.
Hope not.
You could do that. Yeah, Paul Heyman comes out and he does, which side will he be on? You could do that whole thing. You could mess up the whole thing. And then 50 cut-ins and zooms and cuts. Tons of them.
You know what they should have done, Andrew? I'm already giving away my spot for Wednesday.
Yeah, give it to me.
They should have spent the entire this week and next week trying to court different wrestlers. Go all the way down the card, both sides, OG Bloodline and the new Bloodline. Just person after person, and everyone says no. Akira Tozawa says no.
That's such a Vince McMahon. That's a Vince McMahon. No, that's a Vince McMahon.
No. Everyone says no, and it forces them to do 4-on-4 because guess what? Nobody likes these guys. They're all assholes.
If Vince was doing this, okay, it would be the heels have their guy, right? They already know who it is. Don't worry about it. We got our fifth guy. So the dummy baby faces decide they're going to do an open call, right? It's an audition. Roman is in the room. He's in, that backstage leather couch room that they always use with the charcuterie, the terrible charcuterie that's just vegetables and ranch dressing.
Yeah, they gotta keep up their appearance.
Their appearance, right? Athletes, that exact one that they've always used. And now Roman is sitting there. Sammy's the comedic guy with the clipboard and going, next. It's like a casting. And here comes all the scrubs. And Roman is annoyed by all of them. That would be an entire 3-hour show with Vince booking it.
Yeah, but the way I'm pitching it is that everyone hates everyone on both sides. And so all of the members of the roster say no.
Yours makes a lot of sense. Mine makes no sense. Mine is a comedic thing where it's all like the comedy. Like Santino shows up and the Boogeyman shows up. And you bring, whoever, all the lunatics, all the people that nobody cares about. You bring in every weirdo in that company. Give me somebody that they can bring. Weirdo, total weirdo.
Honky Tonk Man.
Honky Tonk Man shows up and he wants to be and they're all trying to connect with you could bring in all the old timers and they're like, I'm a noose too, brother. Now Terry Bollea is not, but Hulk Hogan. No, you can't do that?
Definitely can't do that. Okay. Definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're going to have a 5-on-5. That's going to happen. There was a lot of controversy over Pete Dunne's punches. People got very upset.
Sure.
It's wrestling. Sometimes the camera is a bad cut. Not as bad as that December 5th Dynamite from 2021.
Just punch the canvas.
Just punch the canvas.
Man, I don't care if the wrestlers don't look like they're doing the job their best, but they do it well 98% of the time.
It's okay. It happens.
It's fine. Let them complain. Yeah. People who never want to step foot in the ring but want to have a word about it. Sure.
You had, at the end, you had the lineup. So what is the lineup for the women's match? It's going to be what? Now I have it here. Hold on. Let me get to it. It's at the end of my notes, or maybe not. The Women's War Games was set up too. Is it? Where is it? Oh, here we go. The Women's War Games, and here's a spoiler. I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds here. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Naomi versus Liv, Raquel, Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax, and Candice LeRae. All right.
Should have been a traditional 5-on-5.
Io will do her garbage pail spot from the top. Raquel will throw somebody into something. Candice will take all the bumps. Nia will do a big squash spot. All right.
Then everyone will put Nia through a table collectively because she's bigger than the rest of them.
Yep.
Or Jade will do it single-handedly, and that'll be a big...
Tiffany Stratton's moonsault off the top of the case. See, we are the only ones that could hear him.
Oh, that's a problem for me.
You know, Sean has banned him. He could only talk. MG, our producer, could only talk, I think, 3 times a show.
But the problem is he's like present in the front of my ears, and he's not like in the back, like in another room locked in. You got to change the oral space here.
Well, you know what it is? I gave him the Baba Booey mic where he was really distorted, and he keeps swapping it out. He doesn't like that microphone. I keep giving the Gary Delabate mic.
You got to put the mic in a box in another room.
In a box in another room, yeah. He needs to come off like he's in a control room somewhere. So,
treating you like this in a talkback format.
Interesting stuff. You want to go into this Ring of Honor news?
Yeah, let's talk about it. You got us at the end of our show yesterday.
I'm going to do something groundbreaking right now. I'm going to send out a live tweet while we're doing this with a scoop.
That's stuff we do all the time on In the Weeds over on Fightful Wrestling. Oh God, Jeremy all day. That's what we do. We tweet out wrestlers and be like, "Will you do this?" Because we're talking about it on the air. We asked Renee Paquette if she would talk about her relationship. I
just did it.
Good.
So, a couple weeks ago, I spoke to Joel about this. I was like, I think they're running the Hammerstein. AEW's running the Hammerstein for something. And in typical wrestling fashion, there was a convention this weekend in New York. And I had heard about this, and I had spoken to Joel about it, and I had spoken to Sean about this weeks ago. And what I had was a little bit different. What my news was, actually, we'll go into this. It turns out Ring of Honor is running Final Battle from the historic Hammerstein Ballroom here in New York City, the Manhattan Center. We posted this on Fightful Select. I worked with Sean on this to verify it. And we had this a couple of weeks ago, but, there was a wrestling convention. And what's the saying? Telephone, tell a friend, tell a wrestler.
You got it. Telegram.
Telegram. I'm sending Telegram. That's why MJF won't respond to me, dude. It's not getting these fucking... I'm sending him a Telegram. They're running the Hammerstein on the 20th. Now, a lot of people were speculating the week of the 13th. They're not running that week. It's the 20th. And this is the night before a Collision taping. Collision tapes Ring of Honor also, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So here's the news. AEW Collision will be live from the Hammerstein Ballroom the night after Final Battle.
December 21st.
December 21st. I'm excited for this. I love that freaking building.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this will be a lot of fun. I think fans will get really, really interested, have a good time at it. New York's getting a lot of shows in those 3 weeks.
Yo, we're getting Ring of Honor, we're getting Collision,
we're
getting Saturday night's main event
the week before,
and we're getting the Christmas Garden show on the 26th.
Do you burn out your wrestling fans with all that stuff?
I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. I don't know so much about AEW, right? But if we're talking WWE, Ring of Honor will do great in that venue. It's a very intimate venue. You get about 2,000 seats in there. It's Final Battle, first time since 2019.
Oh, I couldn't tell you that one.
2018?
Could be 2018. 2019 may have been in...
Hold on.
I gotta look it up.
I'm trying to do it. I can't. I think it's 2018 because 2019 they ran MSG. Remember?
2019 they ran 2300 Arena.
Okay, so 2018 it was. I think they'll do well. I think it'll be interesting what they do with Collision if they do an interesting card there. You have Chris Jericho as your world champion for Ring of Honor. They're going to do some Ring of Honor. They'll tape Ring of Honor from the following night too, so that'll be a double whammy. The Christmas show will do well because a lot of people get it as a gift. And it's a very family-based show. Like that Christmas show at the Garden is like taking your family to the circus.
Right.
That's the only thing I could equate it to. It's not like going to a pay-per-view or TV taping or any other house show at any other time. It feels more like going to the Rockettes or the Big Apple Circus because it's a very different feel. It's a lot of families. They'll do fine with Saturday night's main event. It's a return of that show. They're selling it as if it's a big deal. It's live on network TV. So I don't know if there's going to be any kind of, robbing Peter to pay Paul here. But what do you think? You think it's going to affect any of it? It's 4 shows in 2 weeks.
And that's the thing. It's 4 shows in 2 weeks. And this is something that we've talked about a lot is typically in the entertainment business, especially in like the live wrestling entertainment business, you don't run the last 2 weeks of December. People are in holiday mode. People haven't put in their money towards presents. They put their money towards the holidays, food, whatever. And you don't necessarily have the money to go buy the tickets for these shows.
But New York City is bumping. Okay.
That's the thing.
December, this town, it's a very different town. I'm going to tell you a big secret. I fucking hate New York. I hate the city. I'm there every day. I'm allowed to hate it. It's garbage. It's disgusting. However, it gets really pretty for about 3.5 weeks in December. It's nice and cold. The Christmas decorations up. Everybody's in a good mood. Holiday bonuses are happening. Wall Street's bumping. People are in a very different mood. So I think the vibe is very different. I think people are looking forward to spending some money. Listen, I'm only speaking about what I observe. I'm sure somebody's going to say, no, they don't. Maybe for you, but what I see is very different. I think everybody will have a successful run here.
Yeah. My expectation with the Ring of Honor show is, again, it's a 2,000 seat venue. The tickets are going to be pretty affordable.
Yeah.
And then they'll run Collision. And if they do a 2-night ticket, that's even better. If they invite people who buy Ring of Honor tickets to have a free entry to Collision the next night, if the Collision tickets aren't selling as well, then that's another incentive to come back. They've done it with TNA's done it too. Slammiversary, they were like, hey, come to the TV tapings the next night and you get a +1, see you there. Stuff like that would go down.
Yeah, I'm curious how they present this for both shows, for AEW and Ring of Honor. I wonder if they'll have a different presentation. It'll look differently. Obviously, the ring reps will change and stuff like that. But, and then here's the thing. GCW's running that venue a month later.
Yep.
Why did you just who pulled that up?
Couldn't have been me.
Why are we? Listen, I don't know. He's always been nice to me. I don't know. That's my answer. But this is fascinating, and this is something that we've always said about AEW is that they should be running unique venues. Now there aren't too many left. A lot of those unique venues cannot facilitate that building. I'm going to tell you, the Hammerstein Ballroom is a pain in the ass to bring equipment up and down. WWE has made it very clear how much they hate that building as far as, bringing equipment in and out. But, I always wondered who would be first to run that building. Would it be NXT or would it be AEW? And I never understood why NXT never ran that building. They ran the Theater Garden, the theater at the Garden. Years ago. I mean, that's where I got this cool thing here. I got really drunk and I went to buy this poster and I spent almost $200 on it because I didn't realize I was buying the autograph one, and it wasn't like just the regular poster. But they ran the Garden Theater with this. I mean, look at this card. Isn't that unbelievable?
What was that? Was that 2017?
2016.
2016. It was November. Shoot, you're almost on the date. It was November 16th.
Yeah, November 16th. Yeah, 2016. Yeah. And it was a fantastic show. It was a lot of fun. The best spot of that show was Elias getting booed out the freaking building. And Liv Morgan had the greatest moment there, right? Remember she was doing that pizza gimmick?
She was a girl from New Jersey. Of course she was doing a pizza
She's a girl
gimmick.
from New Jersey. Listen, I love her. I love her so much. There's something so at home when she's in that character. Listen, I'm a Queens boy. That's what that is true. You walk around with boxes of pizza. So she had the pizza and she dropped it on the floor and she picked it up and ate it. Biggest pop. I lost my mind. I couldn't believe it.
She's just like us. She eats pizza off the floor, just
Look
like
at
us.
that. And I go, Rich, she's just like us.
Years later, she would become WWE Women's World Champion.
Years later, that Liv Morgan that dropped that pizza and ate it became the champion. Fantastic stuff.
Oh, floor pizza Liv.
Fantastic. I was sold. I was like, she's going places. That pizza spot. But very unique experience, very unique building. They're going to be doing back-to-back nights. All right, cool. And they beat NXT in running that building. I don't know, how much does this affect GCW now?
I think it's apples to oranges at that point.
You think so?
It's a month. It's a month separation. I don't really expect much talent crossover. If it is, it's minimal. It's not a big deal. It's on GCW to have a banger card for that show.
And they're coming in. Listen, I'm not. I don't follow GCW like many other people. However, there was a lot of criticism about that show. Yep,
and they've said that it will be different this time. Of course, that's what you say when you had a not so great debut. But they have plans to make it different, and they have a different. They have a different roster now in some ways. So I think that you're looking at a different GCW event. It's not going to be Jeff Jarrett and Ruby Soho and AEW star left, right, center. It's hopefully going to look a little bit different.
Yeah, who was on that card? They got that GCW card.
They had Ruby Soho and Ali Catch.
They did. Yes.
Was that Jarrett and Effie? Was that the first one?
I think it was the World, right? It was called the World on GCW.
The World on GCW.
Yeah. Let's see. You had, what was the main event? Matt Tremont and Nick Gage.
Yeah, that was the
Gage. Against the Briscoes. Yeah.
Yeah, because the Briscoes were tag champs at the time.
Moxley and Homicide.
Yep.
Jeff Jarrett defeated Effie. Yeah, and Ruby Soho, Ali Catch. Yeah, so they shared some talent here.
Yeah, they did Cardona and Janela, which to me was probably match of the night. They like Christian and Leo Rush also had a fairly good one.
Yeah, Cardona was on the card. Yeah, so
yeah, he faced.
I hope it doesn't affect them. Listen, I want to see people be successful in professional wrestling, whether or not I follow the product heavily or I don't follow the product heavily. I think it's good for the wrestlers. I'm not a promotion guy. And it by the way, that Garden Theater is always the felt forum to me, okay? I don't care what anybody says. When I go out with Uncle Bob and we go to all these games and we go to all the Knicks games and all the stuff that we do, it's always the felt forum. He always talks to me about the felt forum.
Hey, it's just like we call it the Sky Dome here. Even when WWE brings Elimination Chamber to us March 1st, it's going to be the Sky.
That's a big building to run.
That's 67,000 was the WrestleMania 18 number.
So what, you think they're not gonna outfit it to 6 for elimination unless they have something humongous planned for Elimination Chamber? Maybe is that Goldberg's retirement?
They could do that. You got to assume that John Cena is going to be on the card. He announced he was going to do his final run at Money in the Bank in Toronto. That was in Toronto where he started that.
So when does he start it though? When is it the New Year?
It's the Netflix debut. That's when it starts. This new run. That's when he'll show up, unless he shows up early. But there's no incentive for him to show up before the Netflix debut and get himself ready. I'm going to be in the Royal Rumble, and everyone's like, yeah, and that'll be the beginning of John Cena. And either he's going to be in an Elimination Chamber match, or he's going to have a big match on the card. That's going to get a lot of people buying tickets to that show.
That Netflix show, I'm hearing some stuff about their first couple of weeks that they're planning out, and it seems like they're really going balls to the wall with it.
As they should. It's a new TV partner. It's something they've never done before. The Goldberg retirement match is also another good idea because Goldberg does have some history in Toronto. They did the Goldberg-Brock match in 2016. That was Goldberg's first match back in X amount of years.
No,
he didn't win the title. It was that random Survivor Series. This is 2016 where 2K put on Brock versus Goldberg, and Goldberg won in like a minute and 18 seconds.
I gotta tell you, dude, I love that match. That was done so well.
It surprised everyone. I was at that show as a fan, and I was like floored that they did it. And like the walk back to the subway, everyone was like, I can't believe that happened. And like the main event was the 5-on-5 Raw SmackDown match that was like an hour long.
Yeah.
The Goldberg match was like what it was expected to be. It was good.
By the way,
didn't they do?
Yeah.
Didn't they
you're
do
on the
that?
air, right? Okay, he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't they do that match last after the 5-on-5?
Yeah, they did. I'm saying, but like the main event was the 5-on-5,
Okay.
but like the last match on the show. Again, that's the WWE vernacular. Is like main event isn't the last match; it's the promoted match. And so the more like the promoted match, I guess, was the 5-on-5. But the Goldberg match was big, and that was his return. So why not have him go out in Toronto?
That'd be cool. I mean, you don't need to do it at WrestleMania. I don't think it matters as much at WrestleMania.
Oh, I don't think so either. In fact, there's part of me that thinks Saudi Arabia will get Goldberg's last match.
That's quite a thing, huh?
Someone's got to pay
Bill
for
Goldberg's last match is there. I don't want it there.
Bill Goldberg has won a title in that country, so there's that.
I know.
He knows.
He knows. Listen. I hope they do something good with Goldberg. I know that he was very bitter over the whole Vince McMahon thing, not giving him that retirement. But how do you do this? Is it a retirement match? Is it a series?
No, it's one match and he loses. Just let it.
To whom?
Just end. To Gunther, Braun Breaker, someone who's like him but different.
I don't know. Should it be Gunther? I don't think it should be Gunther.
Bronson Reed. The thing is, they've already set it up to be Gunther. You can't do the bad blood segment and not.
But that to me means they take that title off of Gunther and he beats Gunther.
Yeah, but he can still hold it until the new year. If this thing is going to happen in March, then
no. I mean, by that point, Gunther drops the title, and now Goldberg costs him the title at Rumble. You know,
Goldberg doesn't have to win. Goldberg could just get the title match and lose to Gunther, and Gunther goes on to WrestleMania and faces the Elimination Chamber winner.
Yeah,
you could do it. Jeremy and I did a whole play out of how like survivors are not from Rumble until SummerSlam could look with the World Heavyweight Championship, and it involved using Goldberg and Gunther and someone else whose name I forget at this point. Maybe Seth Rollins and CM Punk.
I'm gonna throw you a question, not on the show. Our producer just left. He just got so insulted by how many times he said Goldberg. He just left.
I would too.
Yeah, he just he's dropping his pants.
Wow,
you're on camera, dude.
Wow,
Jesus, you saw that, right?
I didn't know that he had that going for him.
Well, that's why we call him. I don't want to say what we call him. I want to ask you this: WrestleMania is tomorrow. Who's the champion and who's challenging for the titles?
Cody's still the champion.
Okay.
Feels like maybe Rock is challenging for the title, or they're doing a triple threat.
Okay.
I would like to see. Oh man, I hated when Sean brought this up, but the more I think about this, the more it could happen. Gunther and John Cena for the world title,
and it's Cena's last match. If Cena can't win, he retires.
It's not his last match. It's just he won the Elimination Chamber. He's going to WrestleMania. He gets Gunther. It's the classic, John Cena, American hero, and he's gonna go win the title and bring it home. USA. I'm a Canadian. I don't give a shit. But the point is, that's a very John Cena story. And like when Sean laid it out, I was like, oh, sucks. But now the more I see it going, I'm like, I could see them doing it because like they're ready to get away from Ric Flair's record. They're good. They'd rather go with the guy who doesn't, type in all caps every other tweet he sends out. They're ready for the next dude. Let it be Goldberg. Refresh the records. Not Goldberg.
I know you're Canadian. I know you're Canadian, but you did vote in the U.S. election. You voted for Mondale over and over again, right?
No comment.
Yeah, see? I knew it. Big Walter Mondale guy. That Joel.
Big Walter Cronkite guy.
Huge Walter Cronkite guy. All the Walters. Walter, see, we were talking about Walter.
Big Walter guy.
Big Van Walter.
That's right.
Let's do, I want to talk about Jon Moxley, but before we do, get your questions ready. Submit them, because in a few moments, we're going to be doing a Q&A. You could ask me and Joel anything you want. You could ask Joel about what he's wearing under his clothing. You could ask him about his favorite Matt Dillon story. Whatever you want to ask him. Jon Moxley, he did a bunch of interviews. He did an interview with the New York Post. And Moxley is talking about a hard reset for AEW and that how it's begun. Moxley says that he considers August 28th, 2024, the day he returned from hip injury, as day zero. and that AEW is getting a hard reset and a complete reset. What is this? What is he talking about? Is he just being Jon Moxley, or is he talking about? I know that there's going to be some changes in the new year for them, 100%. But is he referring that, or is he in character talking about whatever storyline this is?
Sounds like a storyline. I like that he's trying to make that more of a storyline conversation. I don't know how many times I can hear restore the feeling, we're back, and then, oh, we're going to try it again, and it's, a hard reset. How you can't tell me X amount of times that we're going to do better when you're not actually doing better.
Yeah, guys, you got to talk about it when your buildings are at least a quarter more full. Even
beyond that, like I don't want to turn this into a S all over AEW thing. It's more just like you're trying to figure out what's going to make you tick as a company again.
Yeah.
The Mox storyline has a lot of potential, and I hope that they get there. But someone in the chat says, how many resets have AEW gotten? And if people are recognizing that, then you can't take a storyline like that seriously. A hard reset in WCW was Russo and Bischoff taking the titles, in April 2000.
What? I called it. You just did it. You just freaking did it. You just did it. That first January show. I think they're on January 1st. That's a Wednesday. That's a Dynamite.
It is a Dynamite. But if you do that,
you start the show with all the wrestlers in the ring. Tony Khan comes out and he says, we are having a reset. And I brought in someone to help me with that reset. And here's Shane McMahon.
Jesus
and they
Christ.
strip everybody of the titles. And they have a tournament live that night.
Anyway.
No.
Save it for Wednesday. Save it for Overbooked on Wednesday, because that is some in the weed stuff right there.
Right? Listen, I hope this is a really good storyline. And I do like this Jon Moxley character. There's no question about it. I do like what they're doing with them. There is a little bit. I know a lot of people are comparing it. Spoiler alert. I know. Guys, I don't want that to happen. Let me just.
If it happens, we're coming to you.
Okay? Then Kenny Omega shows up with the Bucks, and all the AEW originals are on one side, and all the WWE guys are on another. This is your blood and guts match. Chris Jericho's in the middle. What do I do? What side am I on?
It's the Entertainment Club versus the new Bucks, the new blood,
the new Bucks. Yeah, the new elite. I don't want that to happen. I do want Shane there. This is my own personal bias here. I do want Shane there.
I've been running that one for a while. I wanted him to show up at Grand Slam.
But I don't have any idea what he could do. I just want to get tickled and see Shane McMahon on that TV. That's all I want.
Of course.
But, you talk about a reset. Yeah, does AEW need something? Sure. Do they need and a lot of it is just a perception. And I was talking to somebody pretty close to the situation here. And they're like, how come you don't see a turnaround happening, right? You're like a little down on it. I'm like, listen, that initial boom that AEW got came at a very unique time. Not that it wasn't deserving, not that they did. This is not diminishing any of their accomplishments, because what they achieved is something that nobody in this field has ever achieved. Really. They are about to become the most profitable company outside of WWE. Nobody has ever made profits like that. And you can't tell me it's because Tony Khan is a billionaire and he's funding this way. Do you know how many attempts at professional wrestling have happened where very wealthy individuals have dumped a lot of money, or they've thought about dumping a lot of money? It just sometimes it won't work unless you have all the parts. Tony had all the parts, and it was the right time, and it was the right guys at the right place. The product was really unique. It was interesting. People were into it. But we live in a culture where hot today, ugly tomorrow exists. The pandemic kind of extended this lifeline and then we come out of the pandemic. A lot of people have money in their pockets. A lot of people want to go out. And they went out and they spent the money and they consumed the content and they bought the merch. But just like everything else, how many times are you going to go to the same show? I live in New York. I go to every AEW show, but I'm a little different, right? Because I cover this. But let's say I live in Chicago and I'm a big wrestling fan. Am I going to every one of those shows that they went to Chicago for? Probably not anymore. Do you know how many people I knew that were traveling to DC to go to an AEW show, or they were going to Philly for an AEW show or Chicago for an AEW show? That's not happening anymore. Life's gotten a little bit more difficult for a lot of people on every economic front. This is not a rich versus people in middle class or poor. Everybody's feeling it right now. And people don't want to travel like that. You must give me something that I need to see to go see it. And the same goes for WWE. And what did WWE do? They've hit that freaking reset every 6 weeks, every 6 months. I'm going to correct myself there. You know, you had the Bloodline thing that was hot. Then you had Cody, that became hot. Then you had CM Punk, that became hot. And they just keep rotating it. And it's working for them. But they're even seeing their attendance drop a bit. They're seeing their viewership drop a bit. It's just the natural flow of things. Is this the end of AEW? No, not at all. But they need to be very careful because the perception has shifted. Those same people that were advocately defending, actually, the Vince McMahon stuff really hurt him more than anything else. Vince leaving WWE really did, again, perception, right? How much did it do to their television and their creative? I think 50%. It's not a total overhaul that they've done, but there's been a difference in their product, and that's been enough. Also, people don't want to get behind a number 2 that they feel is not coming up. Just how it is. So for AEW, I think they need to really consider what they're doing. I think their TV's been really good. I don't mind. I like the Jon Moxley stuff. I think bringing in Bobby Lashley is a brilliant idea. I like that group. A lot of people agree with me on that, but they have a larger-than-life presence on a television show that has a lot of normal people on it.
Yeah, the Bobby Lashley stuff I fully agree with. Bringing in Hurt Syndicate works for me. It's not about, it's old WWE guy. No, it's a guy who still can very much go, is TV ready and solid. As a group,
everybody,
too.
I have a real difficult time with that mentality of, you're bringing in only WWE guys. Guys, professional wrestling is a very small group of people, right? And on top of that, there's an even smaller group of people that can perform at a television level.
And there's an even smaller group of people
that can get over.
Pay you. No, that can pay you based on
that. You know, like if Bobby Lashley doesn't go to AEW, do you want him unemployed? I asked. I got into not an argument, but I was at one of the bars here, and I was wearing my World Class jacket that I got, which I love. It's the Von Erich's World Class, like what do you call it? Like a members only jacket? No, not a varsity jacket.
Ones? Is it?
Yeah, it's like a Ribeiro one. Yeah, it's like a Ribeiro one.
It's a windbreaker.
A windbreaker. Yeah. Right. So the guy next to me is talking. He's like, but AEW, you know, like Bobby Lashley and this one, and I'm like, okay, so do you want? I'm like, I was like, do you want them unemployed? Would you rather not see them? Well, that's not. I said, but nobody's gonna hire. Like, who could afford Bobby Lashley? Who could afford Jon Moxley? It's not TNA.
TNA has, and this is where my expertise comes in, they have that one big contract that they give to their one big draw. It was Trinity up until this year. It's Nick Nemeth now. The next one up, it couldn't have been Lashley, but again, you have to remember TNA, you're working twice a month. You're not working every week. You're not making
$1 million a year.
You're not. No, you got to be above and beyond bringing in the money for them, but they're not. And that's what they do. They have one guy or girl that they spend very well on, and everyone else is built around that.
And you know what? And I have to tell you, their TV is really good. It's not. No, listen. You got in the scheme of things. Okay.
Yes.
You talk about in the scheme of TNA. This is the best that product has been since 2004.
Yes. Okay.
There's no question. In 20 years.
I enjoy covering it. You're right. I enjoy covering it. I enjoy watching it. I enjoy doing the post shows on the channel. There are some weeks where I'm like, cut my head off and never let me do it again.
Listen, I get it, but that's everything, right? And it also has to do with how you feel about wrestling. I'm in a down period right now.
I hate all wrestling.
It's not my priority, and I hate saying that because it comes off like you don't want to do this. I love doing this. There's nothing that'll stop me from doing this. But I'm down on it. I'm down on it for a number of reasons. Generally, it's a fan base. It's really sucked the life out of me. And I'm not making a joke. It's really, fandom is disgusting. I hate it. It always turns toxic. It's not positive. Like the group that we have that tune in here and watch and support everything I've done over the last almost 20 fucking years with broadcasting at this point. I take pride in the fact that I've created a very healthy community around what we talk about. It's wrestling. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's about Joel's personal life. Maybe I want to talk about parenting with Joel. Our audience understands what we do. And I can't say the same about any other message board. I really can't, because it is a very grim look on how most people react to things in society. And
I've moved off of a lot of the socials. I just have.
I get tickled, okay? I really, every now and then, I get tickled to just shut down everything and say, F it, I'm just going to do like not a political show, but a commentary show on what we're doing as a society. I'm a pretty down the middle guy. I know I would upset everybody, so I'm not even going to say anything.
Regular Bill Burr hosting SNL over here.
A regular Bill Burr. Yo, he's great. He fucking guy's so good.
Yeah, just don't have him host that SNL. Anyway.
No, that was the wrong SNL.
That was the wrong SNL to put him on.
That was the wrong week.
Go watch In the Weeds yesterday. We tackled that one. Ooh.
You know, it's fascinating. Like, I like covering this, but I think for AEW, you know, they have a real uphill battle with the perception of the company. How do you make it cool again? Who's going to be the guy that makes it cool? It's not the Bucks. Is it Kenny? Him coming back? Is it Max? I don't know, but I want to see all these guys consistently on TV. Max should be Max, Kenny. Look at the talent that they have. Do something big.
To me, it's the focus. To me, it's always been the focus.
Okay, but what is the focus?
Well, that's the problem. There is no focus.
Yeah.
When you have multiple groups running roughshod over AEW and no group is more important than the other. Meanwhile, you have one guy, and we're talking about Moxley when we're talking, when this all started. Moxley tried to kill a man twice.
He did. Well, yeah.
He tried to kill a man 2 times, not once, twice. They used the plastic bag. This was a thing. And he's not the guy. He's not persona non grata. They're playing it off like Moxley seizes TBS. John Moxley is coming. It's like you gotta promote him. I get that, but the way they do it to me has felt hokey, and that's just one thing. The Roddy Strong, Adam Cole, MJF stuff, like I've had my gripes about that, and I know others have. It's just there's just been certain things that have felt very disjointed. And in its own world, its own universe. Hurt Syndicate is another one where, again, I praise that they're there, but they're a group of 3 dominant men trying to take over whatever they're trying to take over, when Moxley's over here trying to kill people.
Yeah.
And so it's the focus. I want the focus. I do like the shows most times. We talk about it on In the Weeds. You and I talk about it off air. Some stuff we like more than others. Guess what? Welcome to subjective entertainment.
I'm able to look at a 2-hour show, right? Like Raw or SmackDown or AEW TV, right? And the way that I see this is, we brought up SNL. This is like SNL. It's a variety show. Their goal is to have a little something for everybody and appeal to the largest possible audience that they can. And that's why certain segments go over really big with me, and certain segments are not for me. I'm able to recognize, and certain segments are terrible, but I'm able to separate those of what's not for me and what's terrible. I'm able to see that. I think people need to start viewing wrestling, especially WWE programming, WWE TV, as that. They are a variety show. But the Vince McMahon era was the Muppets show. That's what it was. They became the Muppets.
Vince thought he was SNL. Vince thought he was SNL.
Vince thought he was SNL. That's all he wanted to be.
Did you've heard the story? I don't know if I've even said it here, but like there was the story of Freddie Prinze Jr. on the plane with Vince, and Freddie Prinze is watching. Maybe it was SNL, and Vince was like, "Why are you watching that?" It's like, "Oh, just want to watch something different." He's like, "Well, why would you watch that when you can watch WWE Network with Santino Marella. And like, Vince thought that was good enough. He thought he had SNL.
Yeah. I don't know.
Wrestling.
All right, let's do questions. Question time, boys and girls. Submit your questions in the chat room. We'll do our best to answer them. We got about 10 minutes here. Joel has a heart out. Where are you going?
I got a heart out.
Yeah, Joel has a heart out.
I got nothing. It's my day off.
Good for you, dude. No days off for me.
Oh, Tuesdays are special. Tuesdays are my no kid at home. It's just groceries and cleanup.
Yeah. Also, if you got, like, I want to hear some criticism. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you not agree with what I'm saying? Let's see. Do we have questions, MG? All right, here we go. Ace Shock. Post-wrestling mentioned more about the WWE ID program. What does it mean about WWE right to first refusal? What does that mean? So I think what that is you sign that WWE ID program, right? And they're paying you whatever. AEW now offers you a $100,000 contract. WWE has the first right to match it, or if not, give you more. Or give you an offer. They have the right to an offer. You can't just pick up and leave. Did I explain that properly?
Yep.
Joel's working for Fightful. He's getting paid pennies.
Just bury the channel while you're at it.
Just bury the channel. I'm just giving it. Okay, fine. Let's go somewhere else. Joel works for Wrestling Observer. He's making pennies. Here comes Daddy Sean Ross Sapp with his sack of money, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to pay you $2.5 million. I want to put you on TV." He can't just say yes. He has to go back to Dave and say, "Hey, Dave, this is the offer that I have. Can you come close?" And Dave's going to say, "Oh, hell no." And then you could leave.
It's going to laugh in my face first.
He'll laugh. No, and then he'll show you. He's like, "Before you leave, though, hold on."
Does do anything for you?
Shake. That's what he was doing to me. I'm going to tell you, I was in the elevator with Dave. We're going to we were at the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Las Vegas. And we were on the highest floor from bottom to top. You know what he did? He looked me dead in the eyes and he just did the pec shake for like just 30 minutes. 30 minutes. It was just me and him. I was mesmerized.
I can't match the deal, but I can get you Brian Alvarez's toes shoes. Do you want those?
I subscribe. You know what I did? I went and I signed up to the Observer 10 times.
10 times. I
paid him $100 a month.
Good for you.
Good for you. He bedazzled me, bejeweled me, mesmerism. All right, what else do we have? Paul Anthony Moss. Do you see the storyline of Darby challenging Mox winning the title being a slow burn / scratching it out for 2025, or him and Mox at World's End? I don't want to see that.
Which part?
I don't think Darby should get it now. I also don't feel the same way about Orange Cassidy getting the title now. I also feel the same way, not feel the same way. What do you think? Do you think it's the time?
I think Mox will drop it to Darby. World's End could be the time. And then Mox is going to run off to Japan and do stuff for Wrestle Kingdom season. And then maybe they'll run it back. Maybe they'll run back Darby and Mox. I don't know. But I don't see Mox holding on to the title beyond 2024. I think he'll hold it till World's End and that'll be that. But at the same time, you have to wonder, what will they have accomplished from that story?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the end goal is. I mean, what a great you could end World's End with a big cliffhanger, and I think that show should be a cliffhanger show. When they did it last year, I honestly thought that that's what they were leading to, where the end of that pay-per-view is the cliffhanger for the rest of the year. Start something big. I don't know if just Darby winning, if that's a goal there. I also think, there's a lot of changes coming to that company. And should that Darby run be a fluke run? Should it be a short run? Should it be a long-term run? I don't know, because listen, you got Kenny Omega coming back, right? If you talk about that top tier right now, everybody on that roster that is a top tier contender, you have Hangman Page, you have Swerve. I'm not even going to, you know what? Let's go Bobby Lashley, right? Let's go Bobby Lashley. Let's put him in that mix because he's going to be in a top position. You're paying him a lot of money. You got Kenny Omega. You got Jay White. You got MJF. You have at least 6 to 8 people on that top tier of talent that you need to have on TV every single week. You have to. You have to keep them. Ospreay. I'm sorry. Ospreay. Forgot about. I mean, think about this, right? Will Ospreay. Adam Copeland. I forgot about him. You have at least 10 people. That's almost impossible for a company to have, ever.
There is one thing, by the way, about Darby winning the title at World's End. You've got the Christian deal.
You do have the Christian deal, which I was told that there's an idea behind this, and it wasn't just put it on Christian, which makes me feel a little bit better. I don't know what that idea is. Whether it's, waiting for Copeland to come back and they do something there.
Do people want to see Adam Copeland versus Christian for the World Championship?
No.
2025?
No, but I do want to see them team up eventually.
Yes, that's fine. Go on that nostalgia run.
So if it is Copeland, costing Christian that championship, that's a story to tell. And I like that. If it's not, then I don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What else do we have? How many playbooks should wrestling companies have? What would be considered fresh in an industry where everything is recycled? That's a fantastic question. Everything has been done. We've seen it all. So I don't know. I think for AEW's case, they need to establish who their guys are. And that's going to be at a detriment of some people on TV. Now we know that there's another show in the works, whatever the Shockwave show is. We know that Rampage is going away in January. So I think the idea, and if I was doing this, right, if I was booking this, I would not diminish Collision into a Ring of Honor light show. And also the story of Ring of Honor possibly getting TV. That's a big part here. And I think that'll be great. That'll take all the Ring of Honor people and put them in their box, and they'll be able to build their TV. What you do with Collision and Dynamite, I don't know. Your roster's not that... It is deep, but it's not as established as a WWE roster. It's not as in your face where you recognize everybody. So I don't know how they do that, but Dynamite needs to have every one of these guys on it, including the tag teams. FTR should be on every week. And you're talking about, the other side is you're not giving a chance to other talent. Well, you got to push through. You got to do something.
Yeah, there's a booking philosophy that's lacking there too, because there's been a lot of middling.
There's a lot of middling, and I want to see. Listen, when I tune into that show, I'm not going to complain if Max is on. Max is in that beginning segment. You got Kenny Omega in a feud with Takeshita. I'm just throwing names. You got the World Championship on the line, Jon Moxley and Bobby Lashley, and then you got Swerve in the mix there, and you got Hangman there, you got Jay White there, all in prominent positions. I'm not complaining. Oh, guess who else we forgot? We mentioned all these names. Okada. Isn't that a problem? The fact that I rattled off who their top tier is, and I told you top names and top quality wrestlers, and I totally forgot Will Ospreay and Okada.
The thing with Okada is, so he comes in, he has the prestige, everyone understands this. But people know New Japan Okada from 60-minute epics on the biggest shows of the year.
Yeah.
He's not known as a character that's seen weekly on television with a story.
To do it.
He's never had to do it. And that's why I do praise the character he does now.
Oh, I love the character. No. It's not a knock at the character. Don't get me wrong. It's not a knock that he has that title.
I'm aware of that. My point is, a lot of people they have spoils they have riches, so many of them, but also they they need to present some people differently, and I like that they're doing this with Okada. One thing I don't really love, and I made this joke, was on Wednesday's Dynamite when they're trying to introduce Okada's, Continental Classic stuff. You've got Excalibur just being like, Kazuchika Okada, he's a wonderful wrestler. He holds this title. Why are we getting ASMR with?
Yeah. Why were we getting an ASMR intro? Listen,
that's a presentation thing.
But you know what? Okada's fantastic in the role. I just want more.
And that's kind of what the Continental Classic has the ability to do, was give you more of Okada.
What I would do with Okada is have him out there every freaking week wrestling, and he treats everybody like a scrub. Okay, everybody's a scrub against Okada, because that is the reality, and it's not a knock at the talent. You're not Okada, and they need to present that. If Okada's and I don't want Okada having these 6-star classics every week. That's insane. We're never going to see that. This is a guy that when he wasn't in those matches, he was in a 5-on-5 in New Japan, and nobody saw it. Only a handful of people saw it. Put him on TV, have him be a monster, have him just scrub everybody. Him in Action Andretti. No knock at Action Andretti. Him in Action Andretti, he just destroys them. Not even competitive. Why would it be? It's Okada. How many boners did Dave Meltzer give that match? 60?
You should probably consult a doctor at that point.
We used to do that on Mat Men. We used to do, instead of stars, it was boners.
Is that what got you the gig on Observer?
That's what got me the gig on Observer. Dave's like, this kid's the future.
Boners, why didn't I think of that?
Why didn't I think of that? And then he shook his pecs.
It's one way to get it.
Yeah. You know where you could get a boner? With Blue
They
Chew.
don't sponsor the show.
No, they don't. Use offer code FIGHTFUL at checkout. I don't even know what the copy is. Someone give me the copy. Where's my producer in my ear? Give me the copy.
Pretty sure there's a deal in place that the guy who runs the site is the one doing the ad read, but okay.
Yeah, code FIGHTFUL. What else do we have before we wrap it up? Anything? Oh, hold on. What do you want to do with Athena if you were a booker? Dude, she's fucking incredible. I don't know if this is maybe it's her choice. I don't know what the choice is. Like, why would she not be competitively on TV?
Well, I think 2025 you'll start seeing her outside of the Ring of Honor bubble.
I think so. She's too good. She's been too good for too long. When the first time I saw her was? It was NXT at Barclays. And I think she was in a dark match.
It's great talent.
I want to say, was it a dark match or was she on that card? That first NXT in Brooklyn?
Ooh, I don't know.
Can't remember. Someone will tell me. First time I had seen her. I had heard of her. First time I saw her live. Fantastic wrestler and nothing but praise for her abilities in the ring. All right, what else do we have? Did MG freeze? Or is he just grimacing?
Just grimacing off in the corner.
Oh, man.
Hates us.
That photo would be censored if we put it on. Did you see the trailer for Ted? Not Ted Kennedy. I did not see the trailer for Ted Kennedy's documentary. Do you know what my favorite joke about Ted Kennedy is? It's from Howard Stern. Howard did it in the Era voice. Like the Kennedy voice. And he was talking about John F. Kennedy Jr. not being able to pass the bar exam. And it's Ted Kennedy. In the Ted Kennedy voice, he goes, John could never pass the bar, and so couldn't I. Such a great joke that nobody gets here because the audience is way too young to know about Crazy Teddy and his drinking. Did you see the Ted Turner documentary? Call Me Ted. No mention of WCW. Makes me think, I'm sure they'll talk about it briefly. That was a very small thing in Ted Turner's career. His father was in the billboarding business, and he inherited that business, and he turned it into something tremendous. I'm sure we're going to get a whole lot more about the Atlanta Braves than we will about WCW.
One actually made money.
Mary Jane, one actually made a lot of money. I'm sure there'll be stuff about Jane Fonda. Fascinating guy, very 1980s billionaire, an outlier, very different. He And then how he got ousted was fascinating. I'm sure it's going to be more of a positive piece about Ted than a negative. And there's a lot of negatives you could talk about, but it's Turner putting out the documentary, not anybody else. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I might take a look at it.
You're a fascinating guy.
Yeah.
I mean, in the world of Elons and other billionaires, he was really an outlier for the time. I've always been tickled by him. Very interesting guy. All right, what else do we have? And then we'll wrap it up. Oh, which indie talent would you like to see get a WWE ID contract? Joel, that's a good question for you.
No, it's not. I'm trying to think. No, I'm on the spot with this one. I don't have anyone, only because a lot of the ones that I like have already been signed. Jack Cartwheel was one.
Same with me too.
Marcus Mathers was another. Yeah, I don't, and a lot of them are already signed or working, in their own companies. Jody Threat would have been someone that I put out there, because she's fantastic and deserves, those opportunities. But she's getting them, and she's making more of them in TNA. So, the pipeline is there for her. Yeah, the Speedball's another one people are throwing out in the chat. Speedball's a curious case as he gets to the end of his TNA deal, because I don't know where he wants to go or where he wants to be.
Or where will he prosper the most?
Yeah. What his expectations are as well. When you work a place like TNA, I keep saying it, you work twice a week, and what you want to do creatively outside of that is up to you.
Yeah.
This guy likes to do everything.
The indies, it's a very unique indie prior to the pandemic versus prior to the pandemic, because prior to the pandemic, it was still the indies. You still didn't have all these opportunities to get on TV. TNA was, prior to the pandemic, dead in the water. Oh, hold on. I got a message from somebody that is someone in the know.
What'd you say? What did I say?
I got to read this later. It's a very long message about stuff.
Okay. Well,
So,
oh dear.
I thought it was gonna be like a quick one.
Nope.
I think we're in a different world now where independent talent, they're not as independent as they used to be, because they have opportunities to do AEW TV and Ring of Honor TV and WWE, and they could be all over the place. That you don't, I don't believe it's a mess. I think it's better for the talent. Like the WWE ID thing, I think it's great that these guys are making a couple bucks, and guys and girls, when I say guys, they could get better ring gear, they get better coaching. There's some support. You're not thrown into this insane world of pro wrestling and you need to figure it out on your own. There's some sort of guidance to follow. And to work with a school that has that in for you is a positive.
Yep. I agree.
So, does that make sense?
It does. What's next? Oh, what am I going to play on my Switch on my day off? Well, my Switch is here. I'll probably play one of the old Mega Man games. Maybe 5. We'll see. But I'll whip it out today.
Did I spell Manhattan wrong?
It's entirely possible.
How the hell do you spell Manhattan?
Manhattan.
Yeah, why? What the hell?
Did you spell it with an E?
How the hell did I do that?
Where did you do this?
On Twitter.
No, you spelled it right there.
Did I?
Manhattan Center, yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. No, oh, you know what? My original was wrong, and then I copied and pasted it. How the hell do I do that? That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
New York.
That was not on our producer. Guys, that's it. We're out of here. Oh, what does Joel play? Dude, you know what I got into? MLB The Show.
Oh, good for you.
Oh, man, what a great game. I played it all weekend with my kids. One last one. How about Goldberg versus Papa Zarian at Mania? Listen, this big fucking guy. That's what he would call him. Goldberg. So big. That's the only thing he would say about him. So fucking big.
Then Goldberg would spear him and that'll be it.
One of my buddies, he came over and he's a big bodybuilder. My father was like, no, let me see. You pose? He's fucking doing the whole thing. He's like, no. He's like correcting him on how he poses. Because he's an old school bodybuilder. Yo, you got to meet Freddie.
I need to.
You know what? I got to
need
bring him
show
to
up.
one of the shows. I got to bring him to one of the wrestling shows.
Please do.
I got to bring him. My father is out of his mind. It's the best. Freddie's a loose cannon.
We're going to show up in New York, sleep on your couch. Let's go.
Fantastic. He'll wake you up.
I'm sure he will.
Listen, Joel, time to get up. You have to clean yard. That's what he'll
What
say.
time
You
will
come
that-
in the house.
What time will that be? What time are we talking?
Probably like 6 o'clock in the morning, yeah.
I'm up at 6 o'clock every single day.
I'll never
think
forget,
we'll-
okay? Summer vacation. I'm 14 years old. It has to be like 5:30 in the morning on a Saturday. Kicks open my door. He goes, listen, get the fuck up. We have to rebuild transmission.
Rebuild it.
I'm not even joking.
Amazing.
There was always something nutty. You have to find a rack and pinion. Something. It was always automotive, and it was always something was drastically wrong.
Amazing.
You don't have bearing? Whatever, and then he gets all mad. Because I had no idea what I was doing.
4-wheel drive out of 2.
All right, time to go. Guys, this was a blast. We'll see you next week. Joel, where can people find you?
Easy to find. Go over to fightfuloverbook.com, subscribe to the channel. Jeremy Lambert and I get in the weeds every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern until noonish. And I'm on socials, Blue Sky Joel Pearl, Threads as well. That's where I live.
Great. Wonderful. Beautiful.
Oh, and TNA Post Show on Thursdays.
There you go. That's what I was waiting for.
I
You want more Rich and me? Rich is not here, but this Friday we'll be back, 10:30 Eastern on the Matmen channel, youtube.com/Matmen Podcast, and everything else that I do. Follow me on X, @AndrewZarin. I'm not on Blue Sky. I will never be on Blue Sky. I am full in social media. I hate social media.
Who did I tag this morning?
I can't. What?
Then who did I tag this morning?
I hate it. I just have my stupid X account, and that's it. I have Instagram too, but it's just me and my tremendous kids. That's all I post, and my wife.
True.
I don't post on Facebook. I have nothing. Listen, I hate them all. If I stop on X, you'll never hear from me again. Goodbye, everybody.